Well, welcome back to the Wheniheardthis podcast. My name is Nate Robinson. I'm here with Pastor Dr. Joseph Tillman, D-Min Jr.
You keep throwing in the D-Min after you've already said doctor.
I know.
And then it's like in the middle of my name somewhere. You know,
Pastor Demon, Dr. Demon, Joseph Demon, Tillman Demon, Demon Jr.
Right.
Demon.
Yeah. And then everybody just thinks I'm a demon at that point. So, yeah.
Cool.
Whatever. I don't even care anymore.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Today we're talking about all things secular.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be great. I'm sorry. I'm so tired.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Filming at a good time today.
It's a little hectic for me.
Yeah.
Because we're in between church services while I'm doing this, but
I don't care.
Yeah, I know you don't. So
the show must go on.
Indeed. Yes.
Cool. So secular stuff today.
Yes, sir.
The word secular, which was a real popular word when I was a kid.
That's what you were saying. You were saying everything was secular.
Everything was secular that was not Christian. Yes.
Right. That was the word.
Yep.
That was the buzzword.
Read the ad again.
Okay. Before we get started today with our questions, we want to shout out our sponsor, the Discipleship Group. The Discipleship Group is a systematic training for Christians who want to go deeper and grow stronger in their relationship with God. In these courses, Dr. Jay Zen brings you over 4 decades of study, pastoring, and teaching to equip the saints to make disciples. The Discipleship Group is a series of 6 books, each book consisting of 26 weeks. Therefore, it's 3 years of study. Each week has articles written by the author to read, a chapter from a supplemental book like The Passion for God or More Than a Carpenter, The Master Plan of Evangelism, and there's scripture readings each week from the Old Testament, New Testament, and the Psalms. I've used the Discipleship Group resources for over a decade. I've used them in groups of 2 to 3 people. I've used them in small groups up to 12 people. And I can tell you, as a pastor, as someone who spends a lot of time making disciples and meeting with others, that the Discipleship Group resources are the best that I have found for growing in our faith and for encouraging us to go and make disciples ourselves. Go to discipleshipgroup.com, check out their resources, find out information about Dr. J, and I'm telling you, you will not regret it.
I just realized that I demand that from you every time.
You do, but it's fair.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, do this. And I'm like, okay. Like,
all right.
It's fine.
So now, our website.
Right. All right. You need to go to our website and you need to buy all the merch you can possibly buy. Like hoodies, shirts, stickers, mugs, computers, whatever. Okay. Well, we don't have that, but
when I heard this podcast, computer, I didn't know we got into the tech industry.
That'd be amazing. Maybe we need to invest.
Is that tech industry?
Yeah. Maybe we need to invest
into
the tech industry.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. We just make computers and stuff. So, I mean, that'd be terribly
right.
Well, I mean,
I think that will fit in well with what we already do.
Well, people will we'll have our own computers and then people can look at their computers. That looks awesome.
All right. Patreon.
There. Patreon, we're growing.
Yeah, we are.
We have people subscribing, and so hey, why don't you come join the club, man?
Yeah,
join in. So
okay, so on our website,
there's
an email now where you can put in your email, and then we'll send you emails.
Okay, so
about when stuff is happening and other cool, fun stuff that we come up with.
Oh, okay. So you go in there,
10 ways to know that you're in a cult. But they're all funny and stupid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're not inviting them into a cult.
No.
Okay, that's good.
No, we're warning them.
Okay, warning them.
10 warning signs.
Right. Don't join the cult, even if it's us.
Right. We're the herd, not the cult.
Oh, okay.
So
very good.
All of our Patreons are called Join the Herd, but it's spelled Heard.
Oh, and I heard. That's cool.
Yeah, like shepherds from the Bible who had herds.
Right.
And they'd listen to each other.
Okay, so
with their herds.
Here. Yeah, but when I heard this podcast.
Yeah, when I
heard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's the podcast stuff.
Man, y'all do all kind of cool stuff.
Patreon.
If y'all don't know, I don't really know what's going on.
Joseph doesn't do anything except come here.
It's true. It's really true. I show up.
I'm just gonna start yelling at you on the podcast about answering comments, so that whenever you listen to the podcast back, you remember that you need to go answer comments.
Just randomly throughout the podcast, just scream at me to do it. Yeah,
right.
That's fine.
So that you hear it multiple times a week.
I mean, that's
and I don't feel like a nag texting you.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fine. And you can keep texting me
So answer some damn comments.
All right,
okay?
My bad, dude.
It's fine. It's not, though.
I know.
Answer some comments.
Yes, sir.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Facebook and social medias.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You need to go there, like, subscribe.
Stay updated.
Yeah, share.
What we do.
Yeah. Share the stuff. Like, let people know about our stuff. That'd be awesome. Throw comments in there.
Yep.
Yeah, please.
We're on YouTube and Rumble and Spotify, so you can go follow in all those places and review us and all that stuff.
Yep.
So do that.
Absolutely. You can even correct me on things.
Right.
Like someone gave a shout out and they were like, "Hey, Joseph, you kept calling it intermediate fasting."
Oh yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like, and I corrected it.
Interdeterminate fasting. Duh.
Okay, you correct Nate now on that, and yeah, so like I corrected it like I don't know, like halfway through the episode.
Yeah.
But if you're just like listening to the beginning part of the episode, or in
immaculate fasting.
Okay. No, it wasn't that either. But okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Secularism.
Yes, sir.
You ready?
I am. Yeah.
What is secularism?
All right. So secularism, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. I just like choosing random dictionaries. Not really random. I feel like kind of, go between this one and like Oxford and some others. But anyway.
What is a dictionary?
What is a dictionary? Who uses these things anymore?
Is dictionary in the dictionary?
Right. It's thesaurus. What is a thesaurus? Right.
I think that's from the paleo.
Right.
Whatever.
Right. That's a dinosaur for sure. All right. So secularism. It just is defined as the indifference to or a rejection or exclusion of religion and religious considerations.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's just a statement saying, hey, we're either indifferent or we are rejecting or excluding religion and religious considerations.
Okay.
Yeah, probably the way we phrase it probably most often in our own country presently is like the separation of church and state, right? Okay. Like there needs to be like a separation between the secular and church, or I say church, religion, to put it in a broader context. Okay. Religion, yeah.
So all religion.
Mm-hmm. Yes, all religion. Yeah, not just Christianity.
Okay, so does a something have to be actively keeping out religion, or can it just be this is something where we don't really get into religion at all?
Yeah, I think it could be both.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what I was talking about, like, not just the rejection of, but like just the exclusion of, right? Like, we're not even saying we're rejecting your religious ideas. We just are excluding them from this particular environment, endeavor, company, whatever it may be.
All right.
Yeah. So like I subscribe, for example, to like this sports. It's a sports app that has all these different sports articles and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And it feels like anytime anything kind of close to like religion is mentioned, there's all these comments and going, hey, we don't need to be talking about religion. Just keep the religion stuff out. This is about sports.
Okay.
And I think they're not even trying necessarily to say we hate religion, though they may be saying that.
We just want to keep this comment space for sports.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's secularism. That's the part of secularism. Yeah.
So you can keep religion out, but not be mean about it and not reject the actual religion.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All
Especially if you're just trying to exclude it from specific spaces.
Okay. Does the Bible ever talk about secularism?
No, because, all right. So our Old Testament is the Jewish scriptures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for Jews, everything was intertwined, right? Because they had a theocracy, if you were, right? God was their king. And even when they began to have a monarchy with King Saul and King David and King Solomon and so forth, they still understood God to be the God of gods, the King of kings, the Lord of lords. All right. So and that was intertwined in everything they did in their culture, right? Like the laws, for example, that Moses received from the Lord on Sinai was not just laws of the 10 Commandments of how to morally live. It was also, here's the laws, for your civil nation, for your nation.
Right.
And so like everything was so intertwined.
And then he broke them and had to go get them again.
Well, are you talking about the tablets?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He had to break the tablets, and it's a whole mess. But yeah, thanks golden calf and those people who made a golden calf. But whatever. All right.
I mean, them making the golden calf did not force Moses to break this stuff.
No, he
did that completely on his own.
Correct. Yeah. How you react to things, right, is on you.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So my point is there would have been no concept, no idea of separating out life from church. The way we would phrase those. Using modern day words. Within their cultural context.
Right.
Because their cultural context was also their religious context.
Right.
It's also their ethnic context. It's also the way they approach business and the way they approach dealings with other people, and right, all of it, agriculture even, right? It was all so intertwined, and they
were so good at that stuff because they're Jews.
Yeah, you love the Jews.
I do.
I know, and so,
but I was going to say, not a but about that thing,
okay.
But wouldn't every other culture that wasn't Jewish be the secular whatever then? Be secular cultures?
Yeah, some were and some weren't.
Okay.
I think that's something for us I think maybe that's kind of hard for us almost to even fathom, because almost every nation, even if it wasn't a direct theocracy, there was so much involvement in regards to the gods of those nations, right?
Okay.
Like so many nations in the ancient Near East had gods that they were appealing to.
Okay.
Now you do have the exceptions, but you do have like Pharaoh would talk about I'm God, right? Like, but even that they're trying to bring the sense of God. But most nations in the ancient Near East, again, had an attachment to God or gods, plural, right? And I mean, you see that even through the beginning parts and even into the Greco-Roman Empire, right? Like there's still that sense of, polytheism that's occurring.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I do think along that same time frame, you begin to see a little bit of a movement of creating that separation between the civil life and the religion life, put it that way.
Okay.
To use those terms. The civil and the religion lives, I think, began to become a little more separated. And then what you really see is during like their age of reason, the age of enlightenment, that's when it just took a hard separation point.
Way after Jesus.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, absolutely. Right. I mean, the word secularism is really first found like in the the 1800s, and so in other words, it's a long, it takes a while for that word to even be coined or used.
Okay, so it's not in the Bible, that word.
No, not in the Bible. So back
unless
to your question,
King James put it in there.
Yeah, no. So sorry. Like back to your question, the Bible. No, there's not, because everything is found. Like again, you got the history of the Old Testament. The history of the Jews in the Old Testament, and then you have this kind of short history of from the Gospels to Revelation. So a short history of the first century, if you were, and it's still the same thing though. Like it's the recording document of of Jesus and then the early church, and they're still viewing life in the same way of it's all interconnected.
Okay, so what does it mean for a person or a thing to be secular? Because that word has been thrown around a whole lot.
Yeah. No, it has.
In my life.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of
just literally anything.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of different like iterations of it.
Okay.
And so I think largely today, the idea of secularism is really the idea of excluding religion from the civil life.
Okay, because when I was growing up,
a
song was a secular song if it wasn't made by a Christian.
Okay. Yeah.
Or a movie was a secular movie if it wasn't a Christian movie.
Okay, gotcha.
And so are those things considered secular, or is that like a twisting of the word to make it sound derogatory?
Yeah. No, obviously in those contexts it sounds like it was a derogatory word.
Well, it was, but we're right.
Yeah.
But is it the correct word to be using for that kind of stuff?
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. In one sense, maybe, because all right, I was about to say, because you could phrase it as, well, that's non-Christian music, right? Or that's not a Christian movie. But just because something is not explicitly Christian in regards to like it being like a worship song or a hymn or something, doesn't necessarily make the music or the musical artist non-Christian.
Right.
Yeah. And so, or like it somehow like goes against the values of Christianity, or to put it broader, again, the values of any particular religion. And so I think that
all of that would have been labeled secular derogatorily when I grew up
from
in
the church.
Yes, from the church
you were in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think that there's a sense of like, okay, so probably from both sides, you have like the individuals that are not religious. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So whether they're atheist and agnostic, or whether they're just in like, I don't care. Right. Like the nuns that we've talked about before, like I'm not going to identify with any particular religion, like whatever. Just don't care enough to even think about it a whole lot. Like, I think that maybe from their perspective, the idea of being secular is to be in a, that everything is like, or religion is excluded from everything, because religion is deemed as not needed, not necessary, or even viewed as less than, because it can be viewed as not as rational, not as reasonable, not as intelligent. And so let's just keep all of that in its distance. And therefore, our civil space and our workplace and our government and those kind of things need to have religion removed from it. Okay. And whereas like on the Christian side, it can be viewed as, those things are secular. Let's don't listen to music that's not explicitly Christian music by explicitly Christian artists and those kind of things. That
was the thing.
Right.
I discovered EDM music.
EDM?
Yeah, like dance music. Like everything now.
All right.
And I was like, because remember Sandstorm? You know Sandstorm?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
you going to get mad at this? How?
Oh,
How are you going to get mad at this? I don't know if he's a Christian or not. I don't know the guy. So
like whatever.
So there's no lyrics. It's just baboop baboop. So are you gonna get mad?
Yeah,
get mad.
Right.
Yeah.
And so and the same thing with like movies, right, or whatever it may be. So I think that from the church perspective, it can be viewed as like us don't engage in those things. Those are secular,
right?
And it's given a bad label. It's almost like each group is giving the other one a bad label, right?
Right.
Like those in the religion are like, nope, that's secular, that's bad. Yeah. Those that would say we're secularists would go religion, that's bad.
Yeah.
And each of them are using those
words.
words.
Well, if we're talking about music and movies, the secularists were right.
In the sense of
sorry,
in the
sense that this stuff is just not good.
Right. In the sense of we're not even talking about the moral fabric of it. We're just talking about the quality.
The quality.
Right.
Yeah.
The quality of the production.
Yeah.
Right. Or the sound or whatever it may be. But I think that it would be I think so. I do think that could be seen as you could look at individuals, and individuals would say if they say I'm a secularist, right, that there are individuals who are rejecting religion,
right,
and rejecting God. And so there are absolutely individuals who regard themselves as that.
Well, for some reason that didn't catch on.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's like, I'm secular.
Right. I mean, like, no. No one's usually calling themselves that, right? They're usually giving statements like, in how they relate to God. And in other words, I'm an atheist, I'm an agnostic,
Right.
I'm a deist, whatever it may be. And so
Not just
I am a secularist.
I am a secular.
Right. Yeah, you're right. That didn't really I think they would, but I do think the whole idea of like a secular society,
Right.
that has caught on. At least in whether it be academic or philosophical or ethical writings, right? Like the idea of secularism is pretty popular, I think, in the sense of like, that we're a secular society now. You know, we are a society that either rejects or excludes religion predominantly in most spaces. Although I don't know if that's actually as true as it's presented to be true.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because I mean, I still think whether you're in schools or in workplaces or in government spaces, like I feel like in a lot of those places, you still find some, hint of religion there.
Is secularism a movement? Like, is it a goal that people have for society?
Sure, there are definitely for some.
Okay,
and especially for those that believe religion is unnecessary and actually detrimental.
Okay,
there is a movement to say we need to reject and remove religion from everything.
okay,
I mean, that's even like with the ACLU that's their whole setup, right? Like we want to make sure there's not a hint of religion in schools or in anything government or right. Like we want to remove all sense of religion. And that's what, I mean, so that's definitely a secular movement.
okay.
I just would find it, I think it's going to be very hard to remove all religion, if you were, from a society that was literally built on foundational blocks of religion.
Right.
And so I don't know, like, because I think there's this viewpoint of, well, we can become like other European countries who have become more secular, but not all those European countries were founded in the same way that we were, on bedrock foundational points of religion. Right. And so I just think
and you see how all those countries are
thriving,
are doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but I do think there's a sense of like, look how great that is compared to us.
Right.
I mean, and so I do think there's a sense of wanting to remove it, but I just don't know if we could ever get to the point of completely disentangling religion from our own country. I mean, like you go to Washington, D.C., for example, and you walk around our monuments and you walk around the Capitol building and whatever. I mean, there's scripture everywhere. Yeah. Like, and obviously our religion is a Christian religion, Judeo-Christian religion. So there's scriptures everywhere. And so it just, again, it goes to affirm the fact that, no, this is like, we are a country that have this bedrock foundation on religion and Christianity specifically. I just think it's going to be really hard to become a full-blown secular country, but are there those that desire that? Absolutely. Okay. And there are some that may even consider us, they would say we're post-Christian, like we've moved to the other side of it. Therefore, we're a secular nation, but probably not as fully secular as they would even like.
Do you think that's accurate?
That we are a post-Christian nation? Yeah. I mean, yes, if you go by just the stats, right, of the individuals that claim a connection to a religion, of any religion, then yeah, we are definitely right there on that. I think we're probably right there on that line because you've got about, let's say, 25% Christian. And then you've got others, the other religions kind of sprinkled in there. And so maybe you're around a country that's 30 to 40% religious, in some way of America. Yeah, America.
Based on what number?
All right. So, for example, Pew Research has this stat on not just America, but on like countries as a whole. And for America, we're right at that kind of that line again, where I was just a little bit higher that I thought 53% are saying that religion is important to them. Okay. And so if you're kind of going off of that, then we're kind of right there in that middle point. And I think others would say it's probably a little higher than that. Like others, like some people would say, well, there's a lot of social Christians answering that favorably. But if you really got down to how their faith plays out in their life, it's a lower number than that.
Okay.
So where like, because even today, like when you do the, how many are a Christian, like it's still the number is probably bigger than it should be, because you have individuals that will identify as that, even though they don't practice it,
Okay. Or practice it bad.
Yeah. Or maybe they go to church on Sunday once a month or something, or Christmas and Easter or whatever. So they would say, yeah, I'm a Christian, or church is important because I do go a few times a year, but it doesn't have any bearing in the way it plays itself out in their day-to-day lives.
Do Mormons consider themselves Christians?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're part of that too.
They'd be part of it.
And
Yeah.
the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's
are part
Witness.
Of that too?
So a lot of times you'd have like the numbers where it's like, okay, like oftentimes it's like Christian, like Protestant Christians and Catholics
Okay.
are grouped kind of together. All right. In the stat number
Okay.
of Christians. And then you've got your Muslims, your Hindus, Jews, and then it goes to like atheists and agnostic, the nuns we've talked about, and then it'll say like all others. And sometimes the Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons will be put in the all other category, and sometimes they will be put into the broader category of Christians, along with the Catholics and the Protestants. So kind of depends on how the research group is identifying them.
Okay. Do you think that secularism is bad? You, Joseph Tillman.
Do I think that...
Pastor Doctor.
Yeah. All right. So let's say from two perspectives. Do I think it's bad from the sense of that individuals want to push out religion? Yes. I think that's not okay.
Okay.
Like, I'm not for that. I think our country is really hinged on the fact that we are a religious country. And so I think that religion should be part of the fabric. I think it should be intertwined with who we are. And I'm not saying again, I'm for freedom of religion. I'm not sitting here saying we've got to demand everybody to be a Christian, right? Like, so but religion should still be allowed to be in the public square, in this public sphere. Okay.
Okay.
And so
from the public sector,
from the public sector,
from the private sector.
Okay, good question. Both.
Okay.
Yeah, and again,
so you think the public should push Jesus?
No. Okay, no. I think there should be an open. Like, I think there should be, and I think in a lot of places there are an openness to religion. So I'm not saying they need to proselytize. I'm not saying private business or even the government needs to proselytize. But what I am saying is that and we kind of have that built in, right, to our Constitution anyway. Like, you cannot discriminate against religion. Like, that's kind of part of our deal.
Right.
And we have the freedom of religion. And so the language that individuals from like the ACLU and other secularist groups will say is, no, we want freedom from religion. Like, we want freedom from religion. We don't want religion
We've
to be
talked about this before.
Yeah, attached to us at all. What I'm saying is, no, we've been granted the freedom of religion. And so, like, in any kind of space, individuals should be allowed to gather for or discuss religious things in the sense that, as long as it's not obviously interfering or causing conflict or that kind of stuff within the organization or within the government. Okay, so I'm not saying that any one religion needs to be pushed, and I'm not saying that they need to be proselytized, but you don't discriminate against. Number one, and then like, you get a group of people, they're at a business or they're in a government, they want to pray. Okay, let them pray. Right, like no big deal. And I even like this last week, I found it kind of crazy that there was the hey, can we have a moment of silence? This happened in a couple of different spaces, both in the EU and in our own Congress, where there was the say, hey, can we have a moment of silence? After the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and both groups were like, no. And I think so. My whole point just being is, I think there's ways to go about this, right? And you saw that even in the reactions to, after the death of Charlie Kirk, certain baseball stadiums, certain football teams that made the decision on their own to have, a moment of silence. Well, that was their choice.
Right.
And that's all I'm saying is they have the freedom to make those decisions.
Right. Okay.
They shouldn't be prevented from being able to do that. That's really all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so, and those that chose to not do it, that's fine, right? But it's that the freedom is built in for individuals, private companies, even government spaces to say, but we can make these decisions and choices, right? The freedom's there. So, but on the Christian side of things, right? Because like you said, like secular is bad.
Yeah.
But I think that you rather look at it and say, well, but no, the secular doesn't mean it has to be without religion. Even though I know that's like the whole definition of it.
Right.
But I guess what I mean by that is not that secular has to be without it or needs to have it, but that our workspaces, we should be able to go into those workspaces and still consider that sacred space and not just view it as this hardline secular space where religion's not allowed.
Okay.
And I think that was built in our country, especially through the 20th century, with the idea of privatizing religion. And what I mean by that is you hear people all the time saying, well, that's private.
Oh, like my religion's a private thing.
That's private.
Okay.
Right?
Doesn't Jesus tell us it's private too?
No.
I thought he did.
No.
I thought he said don't go flash your religion around because that's bad and makes you feel like you're pride or something.
Well, he criticized the Pharisees,
okay,
right, for being hypocritical and standing up and saying, everybody look at me, aren't I great? Look at how I pray.
Right.
Look at how much I give. Look at how I fast. Isn't that wonderful? But no, he was very clear to go out and we're going to share the gospel. We're going to proclaim the gospel. Like this is what Jesus' whole ministry was built on.
So what would you want, what do you wish was in workplaces then? Like, what do you wish I could be able to do?
No. So I guess what I'm saying is so that's what I'm saying. Kind of two different things. For a Christian, I think they should view their workspace as a sacred space and not view it as a secular space where their religion is not allowed.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is I can go into a space, I can pray. I'm not saying I pray out loud, okay? But like I can pray while I'm there. I can feel like while I'm working, that I'm working unto the Lord and for the Lord, okay, that I'm even having communion and talking with him and feeling his presence in the midst of my work life.
Okay.
And that's what I mean by that. In other words,
so why can't I do any of that if the company wants no religion? Because I could do all that even if they said this is not a religious space.
Sure.
So what's the difference?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's not a religious space, but then I also, this is the next jump. Okay. I do think that Christians have a responsibility as well to share their faith.
Okay.
And I think that's becomes the tricky part.
So I have to go tell my boss that if he was actually a Christian, he'd be paying me more.
Well, I mean, if you want to, that's up to you.
And then throw a book at him.
Now he can respond to you however he wants, and he might fire you, dude. But
whatever. It's for Christ.
Again, the throw again for Christ doesn't like throw a book at him and be like for Jesus.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's no. But
whatever.
Yeah. No. So all I'm saying is I think Christians need to have a mindset of where I'm going is still sacred.
Okay.
We don't have to have,
God owns every place.
Because God's with me. That wherever I go, he's like,
okay,
I can be with him. And then
he's got the whole world in his hands.
But then the other side of that, right, is the other side of that is, like our school system, for example, right?
Right.
Teachers can't just start standing up and sharing gospel and okay, cool.
Right.
But before school, kids can gather together to pray and to worship, kids, or after school or whatever it may be. What I'm saying is like individuals that are like would be considered like kind of hardcore secularists do not want that at all. They think that those kind of gatherings, or even like we see public prayer vigils,
like it's bad if I if my child even sees that
Yeah.
and is influenced by that at all.
In other words, religion should only happen within religious buildings.
Okay.
So any kind of religious act should only happen within religious buildings.
And you would say that every act I do is a religious act because I'm a Christian and I'm supposed to do everything for Christ.
Right. And then it doesn't always look, just overtly religious.
Right.
Right. Like, I'm hoping I can have kindness towards someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I can, be at peace with people, right? Those are Christian virtues.
I'm only nice to people because God tells me I have to be.
Well, hey, whatever the reason, dude, just, whatever. And so, I think that's an important part. Like, religion shouldn't be removed from all society.
When I was writing these questions, I didn't realize we were going to be talking about separation of church and state so much.
Okay.
And I thought we were going to be talking about like the church trying to keep anything non-religious out instead of the world trying to keep religion out.
Yeah.
And so that's why I feel like this word exists, because the church needed something to label everything that's not made or done or built by a Christian.
I got you.
So don't do that. That's secular. So
right.
And on top of that, if you have anything to do with anything secular, we're going to judge you, and you shouldn't be doing that, and can't believe you, and God's judging you, and blah blah blah.
Okay.
So
I see what you're saying.
So that.
Yeah. So so you're coming at it from almost like the Christians were the inventors and the upholders of that word.
Yes.
Where, I think it's actually the other way around.
Okay. Well, that's not my experience with
it. But you're not, but I don't think you're wrong in the sense that because there has been this, because of what our secular society looks like, right? Because it looks like non-Christian. It looks like non-God. It looks like, we want to keep God out kind of thing, right? Like that's kind of the whole mindset behind it. And so, let's remove prayer from school. Whether you agree with it or not agree with it, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just the point being is, let's just, again, free our society more and more from religion being in the public space. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I think that for Christians, then we almost took like this defensive posture of like isolationism, like, in other words, like, or kind of not isolationism, but like,
right. So
bunkering down. Yeah. Like, we're going to bunker down. Like,
so Christians did exactly what the secular people wanted them to do.
Yeah. It's like just not engage with them at all.
Right.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
I don't understand.
I don't either.
And I'm judged for it.
Yeah. Right. Like, I think it's kind of, it's because, see, here's the thing with Jesus, and this is why Jesus was definitely not like a secularist. Like, what does it say about Jesus? It says that Jesus was all the time with the sinners, the tax collectors, the prostitutes, right? Like, he was going to houses of individuals that were not believers, that were not Jews, or at least even if they were Jews, they were not, following, the law. They were considered evildoers or doers or practicers of wickedness, lawbreakers. And so Jesus was around people that seemingly wanted nothing to do with God, but yet that's where he found himself, is with trying to reach and minister those people as well. And so I think that we also need to do that. That we also need to find ourselves going and being with individuals that don't know Christ, and instead of just being like, oh, anyone who doesn't know Christ, stay away from, or anything that doesn't look like Jesus, stay away from. No, I do understand, like, kind of like when you're thinking about it from your perspective, especially your experience growing up, of how, when you're growing up and you're told secular is bad.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's created, because secular music, but like, is all music that is not explicitly Christian bad? I don't think that's the case.
Right. Which was the problem.
Yeah.
You gave up the middle ground.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Idiots.
Yeah.
And told me never to go in there.
Right.
Which was stupid.
Right.
And then punished me for it.
Yeah. Well, like, and what's crazy is, I mean, I've even been around places that was like extremes of like, man, if it's not anything, like if it doesn't have anything to do with church or the necessity of you going there for like work, like don't go. Like don't go to a football game.
Right.
Because people are going to be there. They're going to be drinking. They're going to be, like.
They're going to be playing secular music.
Right. And that's not.
You might watch a coach say a swear.
Right. And so that's not where you need to be. Like, I've been in those circles where it was like adamantly against those kind of things.
Right.
And like you said, well, then where am I supposed to, like.
Yeah. Like, you lose
100%.
This is how you lose.
And this is how Christianity.
You give up ground.
Yeah. And Christianity took a nosedive.
Yes.
Right. And so, I mean, there's a lot of other reasons it took a nosedive besides just this, but that's part of it, right? When you just completely like barricade yourself in, and you're not reaching people, guess what's going to happen? You're actually going to decline, right? Like that's just the way it is. And so, I do feel like there's a way to be
Christians want to lose. I feel like I feel like for the entire time I've been alive, up until maybe recently, they have just wanted to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, for real.
Yeah.
They're like, don't, all the times that we like, don't go be scientists because there might be, you know what I'm saying? Don't go be, don't go be entertainers.
Right.
Don't go, all the things they just want to lose.
Yeah.
And they deserve to lose. Well, honestly.
It's interesting about the science thing. That was like a real thing.
I know.
Like, because science was deemed as evil.
Right.
Because that was secular. Right.
Right. Because you.
Yeah. In science, I mean, I remember like it was like Christianity versus science.
Because someone had a theory and you're like, can't believe people believe this theory.
Right.
And you're like, well, everyone believes it. We got to dip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like.
I know, but it really was. It was postured as Christianity versus science,
right?
And that's insane,
right?
Like that's absolutely asinine.
And it was secular science.
Secular science,
literally, that's a term,
right? Because it's
and Christian science
or creation science,
and then Christian science became a whole religion.
It did. But I think that's a big issue.
Right.
That's a problem. When you're viewing everything, that's secular, stay away. That's secular, stay away.
And there can't be two sciences.
Right.
One's right.
I know.
Right.
And I think with science...
Or they're both wrong.
Right. Well, and that's the kind of crazy part, right? Like you've got theories within science, right? The theory of evolution.
Right.
It's a theory.
Right.
And I understand Christians got a little upset when it began to be taught as fact.
Right.
And when it was really...
Which
is theory.
Stupid.
It's still a theory. But okay, so if that's what they're going to teach at the schools, parents, teach them the other side.
Right.
Right?
Tell them that's wrong.
Tell them it's wrong.
They don't teach that until they're in high school.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So just tell them it's wrong. I don't understand.
Yeah. I know. I get you.
So let's never go to public schools anymore, and let's never go to football games, and let's never go outside. Let's just stay inside our stained glass windowed church and
Don't go to the bars. Don't go to and I'm not sitting here advocating like going out and participating in debauchery, right?
Right.
But what I'm also saying is, I mean, we have to go into spaces where people who don't know Jesus are.
Right.
I mean, where else are we going to share Christ?
I don't know.
Because it can't just
at
be
church.
And that really became part of the issue too, right? Yeah. Like the only time anyone got saved is when they came to church.
Right.
Well, that's it's like the opposite of what Jesus said. Jesus said, "Go out, make disciples of all nations, all people groups." Go out. And we were like, "I'm going to build a building, meet here, and hope they come to me."
Right.
And that is what we did, and that's part of the problem, I think, too. Because think about it, in earlier times when churches were meeting in homes, and whatever your thought is about the house churches or those kind of things, but when they were meeting in homes, it was part of the community. It was connected with the larger communal part. Then we started just kind of barricading ourselves in by building these cathedrals of churches that have church buildings, and I do wonder if that's part of that reason that we've lost some ground too. because it can be kind of intimidating. You feel kind of weird going into a building,
Right.
And so, in other words,
where everyone thinks and acts the same way.
Right. So my point is being, and I'm not even, and like we have a beautiful church sanctuary with stained glass windows. I'm not even knocking that. All I'm saying is, but that can feel intimidating for an unbeliever to walk into that space.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not going to walk into our space, we've got to walk into their space. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. But that's secular and it's wrong.
Yeah. So I do not want like I don't want my children, for example.
And you're bad for saying that because you're going to get people roped up into sins.
I know.
Yep.
Hey, I went to bars all the time in college,
Mm-hmm.
and not I say all the time. That's a strong word. I would say that. I went to bars when I was in college, often to listen to bands that I liked.
Yep.
And
secular bands,
rut-row. Even though there was,
and you're a pastor now.
I know it.
People
God.
listen to you.
Well, they probably shouldn't. And there was one band that was in Athens, and they were Christian. Like they themselves individually were Christians,
right?
So their music wasn't anything that would go against their ethics, right? Their biblical ethics or their biblical worldview. But they didn't play music that sounded like church music.
But their music didn't sound like church music, and it didn't have Jesus in there like 40 times.
Correct.
Yeah.
It wasn't overtly Christian,
right?
But yet they were. But we would watch them, and they would talk to people about God and Jesus in the middle of their sets, and it wasn't like in your face kind of style, right? It was like, hey, the lyrics of this song or da-da-da-da, this makes me think about, like he's kind of sharing his stories, and the guy was an incredible storyteller.
And the reason they had to do that in a bar is because the church wouldn't let him do it at the church because it didn't sound Jesus-y, churchy enough.
Yeah, and that's probably true too.
Yeah,
and so I think that, so my point just being is, like, but we can go into those spaces, and that's where Jesus found himself sitting with sinners and tax collectors and drunkards and gluttons and everything else. Like that's where he was. That's where.
That's the thing is Christians act like they don't have to do that all the time.
Yeah, like
they don't act like they're out of necessity are going to the secular grocery store. You know what I mean? Like you got to get food.
Right.
Yeah, the secular drive-through.
Right. Right.
And they don't act like they don't have to do that all the time and pretend that that's not right, but then cherry pick whatever you like to do.
Yeah. And you're right. And at the same time, like, do I want my kids to grow up in a secular society? No. Like I want to, but as a Christian, for me, it's not let me tear down, I do want to, like, I would challenge, constitutionally, I would challenge the idea of freedom from religion. I think that actually goes against our Constitution, and so like I would challenge that. But like my heart is not to just change worldview ideas or ideals, but rather to say no. We want to see people come to know Christ. So hey, I want my kids to be prepared enough in their hearts and in their mind to be able to be in a secular society and still be strong in their own personal faith and be able to share Christ with others.
Right.
Like, and I say share, it sounds so like spiritual. Let's say you're at work, someone's had a tragedy, they're going through in their own life, and you say, can I pray for you?
No.
Like you should, and most people would go, I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be a fireable offense.
Right.
Again, private companies can kind of do what they want to do, but I think most people would welcome that, and I know that's not across the board true for every place, but I just think I have found that to be true in most places, and people generally don't mind you praying for something if they've shared something with you,
Right.
Like, I was on the plane coming back, just literally met this person, and they were telling me about a physical illness their child was going through. And I was like, can I pray? Like we were about to land. I was like, hey, can I pray for your child before we go? And they were like, yeah, please. And I did. And man, by the time I did, like, the person was like crying and everything. Like it
really?
Yeah. Cause it meant something to them that I would pray. And they were like, I'm going to tell and this was like an adult child. They were like, I'm going to tell my child that you prayed for them.
Cool.
And, and they may have been a believer, I don't know, but like, that's not the point. I didn't ask, it was just, hey, this is a human being. Can I pray for
And
you?
that happened on a secular airplane?
Sure did.
Wow.
On a secular airplane.
That's crazy.
Yep.
And they didn't kick you off right there?
They didn't throw me out.
Okay.
So I appreciate that too.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I waited till you were landing. A little closer.
Wait till the ACLU hears about this.
They're coming for me. They're coming.
Oh, we joke, but it's true.
It's probably so true. I'm so fine.
Get off my plane.
Blacklist me.
The problem is in this conversation, I feel like our definitions of secular are different.
Okay.
Because when I think about it, I think about this thing is secular. Because that's the way I've grown up to think about it. Like,
right.
This is a secular thing.
Okay.
Because not made by Christian.
Okay.
Or not by Christian. And
Okay.
your definition is like secularism is it's a verb, not a noun.
Okay.
Right? We need to keep religion out of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
according to my definition, can I be a Christian and still enjoy things that the church deemed secular my whole life?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm defining secularism as a noun in the sense of like an indifference to, right, or exclusion of. But you're right. I'm also talking about the active parts of that.
Right.
Right. And so, and probably using the adjective part of it as well. Right.
Right.
And so,
mine's just nouns.
yeah, you just
Like,
that's a secular
here's
song.
the secular
That's
list
a-
of songs, and here's the Christian list
Right.
of songs.
Right. So can I listen to secular music?
Yes.
I'm putting this in quotations if you can't see me, but secular music, if can I listen to secular music and still be a Christian? That's what you're asking,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I watch a secular movie
Right.
and still be a Christian? Yes.
Can I
Now-
enjoy places that want to keep Christianity out of there? Can I patronize those places?
That are actively pursuing to keep Christianity out?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in the sense, and I guess it would depend on like what you mean by that. Like, in other words, I'm not having to walk in and deny Christ,
right.
to be there.
Right.
That would be the line,
But
right?
they just don't want you to talk about Jesus while you're there.
Sure.
And I can go and enjoy that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of places you go to, they're like, okay, no talking about religion, no talking about politics, right? Like, those are all,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Because people argue about that stuff.
Yeah,
A
lot. So like, I get that, like, cool, like, keep that away. And maybe I wasn't clear enough of that earlier. Like, I understand that's part of it. Like, we don't want y'all talking about this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like on our private times and that kind of stuff. Okay, cool. But on public time and public, yeah, I got it. Or private, depending on if it's a company or not. But no, you can absolutely like. So I'm thinking like for myself, like, I do think that what we listen to and what we watch matters. Okay.
Right.
So in other words, if I'm constantly watching or listening to something that is completely like anti-Jesus, or that's anti-Christianity, just so against it and against the ethics and worldview of it. Yeah, that's probably if I'm just listening to that, consuming that, that's probably not good for my own soul.
Okay.
Okay. But at the same time, as and I've mentioned this before, but as a teenager in the 90s, I listened to alternative music from the 90s.
Secular music?
Alternative secular music. Yeah.
And you're a pastor?
And I'm a pastor.
And people listen to you?
Again, man, they shouldn't. And so, but yeah, and there are songs that I will skip or that I won't listen to, or certain bands. I just know every one of their songs is going to be awful.
Right.
So I just won't listen to it. But no, I'm going to listen to music from that time period because that's what I was listening to. That's just music I like. you know. So, but like movies, it's the same thing, you know. It's like, I mean, I think Saving Private Ryan, for example, is a great movie.
We're gonna go save Private Ryan,
right?
For Christ.
So I think it's a great movie in the sense of, I mean, it's a hard movie to watch, you know, especially at first, but like, what an incredible story it's telling. And so I don't think that...
Do people actually like that movie, or do they just like the first 20 minutes?
Dude, I don't know, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you... I like the movie.
The rest of it's boring.
I'm intrigued by it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the first part of the movie is really hard to watch.
That's the best part.
Yeah, that's tough for me, man. I intentionally don't watch it because of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, that's... Yeah.
So you only like the part that...
Well, no, I mean, it's
boring.
not that I like... It's not that I don't like it. I just think that's that's for me hard to watch. It really is.
Yeah, but it's so good though.
I mean, I've probably watched the movie, like most of the movie, like several times, but I've only watched like that first part maybe like twice.
Really?
Maybe 3 at the most. Yeah,
Okay.
it's hard for me to watch. But anyway, my point being, or like, you know, okay, shifting gears from that completely, right? Like, you know, or like, you know, watching, you know, Born Identity, or like,
right.
Like I like watching The Office,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
Yes.
And so like, I still think I'm saved and I'm a Christian.
Okay, so your definition. What should Christians do to fight secularism?
Well, I think that we need to do what we're constitutionally allowed to do. So, in other words, like, for example,
And biblically
and biblically
told to do?
Yeah, I think for me, like, so on the biblical part, share Christ, share your faith, share the gospel, share your testimony, like, do those things, you know. As an individual that's living in our nation, a citizen of this country, I have the constitutional right to ...
Mm-hmm.
Like, stand up for what your constitutional rights are, and so don't just allow
As a Christian.
Okay, yeah, as a Christian, as a citizen of this country, like, do that. Like, that way, and all I'm saying is, in that way, we're kind of holding a line of just keeping secularism from just absolutely just, you know, completely just bulldozing our society, to say only Christians are allowed to be in these little specific spaces when they worship and gather together in their own spaces, right? Like, that's the only time religion can be discussed. No, that's just not true. You know, I would hate to have.
But then every hospital has a chapel for some reason.
Sure do.
Yeah.
I was in one just the other day.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah, why do they have a chapel?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, you kind of wonder. You know, and actually most universities have a chapel even.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
sure do.
A multi-religion use chapel?
Mm-hmm. Yep, most of them do. Yep. Now, most chapels, whether like hospitals or in universities, a lot of those chapels started off as Christian chapels, you know, but now obviously that space is opened up to a broader usage.
Right.
But yeah, most universities even have.
So should
chapels.
Christians go in there if other gods get prayed to besides
I see what you're
Jesus?
saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The secular church.
It's weird, man. Like, when I was in theology school at Emory, the chapel there was a multi-use chapel. Like, so we as theology students who were there as theology students, as Christians, right? Being trained to be theology students as Christians, had a chapel that was also used by Muslims and Hindus and those kind of things. So, but when we had our chapel service, it was in that same chapel. So
that's weird.
It was a little strange. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was
just kind of weird.
It was a little strange. Like, and so like they actually like removed like the crosses and those kind of things.
It's like co-ed bathrooms.
Yeah. Ugh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, those are weird too.
Don't want that.
I don't like that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it may feel weird because it did for me when I was first attending chapel, you know, there. And they just they try to make it spiritual, you know,
right,
and not Christian.
Right. Weird.
Yeah, it was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Secularism. We did it.
Yes, sir.
We fixed it.
It's all over now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're back to
we win.
We're back to being a full Christian.
God wins
society.
in the end, remember?
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Go to Patreon, $5. Like, subscribe, share, comment, follow down. You can follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at wheniheardthis podcast and X and locals at When I Heard This. Ring the notification bell. Tell everyone that you know about the show, and go to the website where there's t-shirts. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Nate Robinsoff, and you can follow Joseph on Instagram at
Rev Joe T.
This has been the When I Heard This podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.